Welcome to Raising the Bar podcast.
Sponsored by the Ashmore Law Firm.
We're your hosts and siblings,
Gary Ashmore
and Lori Ashmore Peters.
Subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
We want to welcome you to our Raising the Bar podcast with our special guest today, TK.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Timothy Klund. Sorry, I had to get that
That's
in.
all right.
Everyone knows him by TK. And our podcast is sponsored by the Ashmore Law Firm, which is Gary and I, brother, sister, not husband and wife. We always
Okay.
have to make that clear.
Yeah.
Right?
So we were just talking with TK before we went on the air, and oh my gosh, you're a very interesting person.
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting life, to say the least. I've been overly blessed. It's been a lot of fun. And, I've got hopefully a lot of runway left, to keep having some fun. So.
Absolutely. And so I guess let's do the present of you're getting ready for it's a celebrity softball tournament.
Celebrity Softball Classic. This will be our actual 10th year. Our first one was in 2016, Marcus Luttrell and the Lone Survivor Foundation. That's how it kind of came up. We were just so sick of black tie galas. And I think in 2014, I think by the time we got to Marcus's in November, my wife Jessica and I had probably been to 12 or 14 black ties, and I was like, I can't do this anymore, bro. Like, take me off the board. I love you. I'm done with this. And that's when we were kind of like, we need to do something else. Mm-hmm. And I told Marcus when we were talking, I was like, let's do a celebrity softball game. So in 2015 was the first one we did.
Okay.
And then it just kind of took off from there. We did one in 2016 in Colorado Springs. Then it was like, why are we doing anything outside Dallas-Fort Worth? Everybody who's coming to these games are pretty much live in Dallas-Fort Worth. Or close enough to drive, Austin, Houston, and we're flying everybody everywhere. So in 2017, Roger Clemens and I just happened to be talking on the phone, and I was asking him, like, hey, what do you think about an OU versus UT alumni game that kicks off OUT weekend, and we'll raise some money for Marcus and Lone Survivor Foundation? He was like, little brother, put it together. So we did, and then probably a week before that first game, and we had up Frisco Rough Riders as well, but he called me. He says, hey, what do you think about Matthew and Toby playing? And I'm thinking athletes. We've got all these great I'm like, Matthew and Toby who? And oh, by the way, we're like 4 days to the game, right? I'm like, Matthew and Toby who? And he's like, McConaughey and Toby Keith. I'm like, they can play. I need their jersey size and number right now. He's like, I already texted to you. So, they came and played in the first one. It was a lot of fun. The second year, right after the first one, the four of us got together and we all teamed up and said, okay, what we'll do is we'll split this 4 ways amongst our charities. TK, you donate to Lone Survivor, whatever veteran organization you want to donate to, but that's who it was. And we'll continue to do these. And so 18 and 19, we did them. And after the 18 game, though, all my other celebrities, guys and girls, started coming up going, hey, this is really fun. We want a game. So in 2019, we actually did 2 games. We did one to help raise money for Carry the Load. We did it Memorial Day weekend with Clint Bruce and Steven. And great time. First co-ed game we did. We did that at Grand Prairie Air Hogs, which was a great stadium. But then 2020 came, killed all the games. Grand Prairie Air Hogs sold their stadium. Frisco Rough Riders weren't sure they could do a game in 2021 because they're still they had to follow the minor league baseball rules, even though they were here in Texas. So they weren't quite sure if they were going to be able to have events. And then I get the phone call from my friends at Texas Rangers, and they're like, why don't you have your games here at Globe Life? Let's do a 2-year agreement here. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can afford you guys at Globe Life. And we didn't really have a lot of options, so we went to Globe Life for 2 years, and it was phenomenal there, and a lot of fun, and kind of a really cool bucket list for a lot of celebrities. And then we moved it back last year to Frisco Rough Riders. I love Globe Life, but we had 14,000 people there. Our second year, it looked like we had about 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's just so ginormous.
Yeah.
And the other thing, nothing against, the new baseball stadiums, but I'm a fan at heart. So I want it to be fan-friendly. And these corporate stadiums nowadays, they're not super fan-friendly. You can't get the autographs on the wall like the old days, like at the old Globe Life Field, where the guys could come up and you could get autographs. You can't do that at the new stadium. So I wanted to get back to Frisco because Frisco, as a minor league ballpark, probably one of the funnest stadiums in America that I've ever been to.
Have you ever been to a game there?
Yeah, it's very family friendly and
it is so much fun, and there's so much wall space for kids to get autographs and really enjoy the celebrity weekend. And so we just moved back there, and again, it's just, still holds 8 to 10,000 people, which we usually get 8 to 10,000 people every year at the game.
Nice.
So it always makes it for a fun weekend. Last year we raised $450,000 for 15 different charities. This year I think we'll probably be closer to $800,000 for about 20 charities, veteran charities.
That
There's
is
a couple
phenomenal.
non-veteran charities in there too.
Right.
I would open it up to as many charities who want to get involved. Be honest with you, the way we do it is I'll take care of the platform, but you got to go put some work in too.
Right.
And you're
Right.
going to use my platform to help yourself. And you have to reach this threshold before you can actually get involved with us. But you can raise as much as you want. And so thanks to David Bohr from the Adaptive Training Foundation, Dave was like, do we have to just raise 10 or can we raise more? And I was like, nobody's asked me that. Like, raise $1 million. You can have
of
it's all
course.
your money, 100% is going
Right.
back to you. You're just piggybacking off my platform. And so they raised $50,000 last year. I think they're probably going to be more than that this year. But there's one group that already told me through one of the events they held just for the Celebrity Weekend, they raised $200,000 just so they could get in. So they called me going, oh my God, you're not going to believe it. We were able to raise $200,000 because a lot of the donors and people from our event wants to come down there and enjoy your event.
Right. That is
So
amazing.
that's kind of how it works.
So you really, I mean, a lot of the charities, like you said, were veteran
Mm-hmm.
charities. Tell us your passion for that. You started out in the Air Force.
Yeah, I sure did.
First, why did you go into the Air Force?
Well, my dad helped me out with that. As we were talking before we got on the air, if it wasn't for, like I told you, if it was for sports and females, I'd have dropped out of school in 5th grade and just went on my merry way. But I had an opportunity to go. I wanted to go play college football at Southeast Missouri State, but because of my extracurricular activities in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, my grades just quite weren't there. I would have had to go to JUCO. And my dad's like, I'm going to get you a job tomorrow. I was the oldest of 5 kids. He's like, I'm going to get you a job tomorrow. And he took me Armed Forces recruiters. He's like, pick one. Wow. And my dad was Army. My grandfather was Army. My other grandfather was the Navy. And so we have a long history of military guys behind us. But, the expectations in my family were, God, let's just get this kid through high school, and just try to get him in the military or something if he doesn't get a scholarship. And the scholarships would have came from an athletic standpoint, but the grades weren't there to meet the scholarships. So, but it's the best thing my dad could ever done. The Air Force was actually a phenomenal start for me from a work ethic. And, I thought I was rolling heavy like Donald Trump at like $1,400 a month. It's
Right.
like, oh, like I'm buying me a brand new car and all the
That's
everything,
right.
and probably spending $1,500 a month when I was first in the military. But it was a great career. I was in the Philippines first, and at 18 to 20 years old, it's such a cool experience to get away from my hometown, to get away from the States, to actually learn from another culture, to actually appreciate everything you have, especially when you're in the Philippines and you see how a lot of those families are living over there, and it's just unbelievable how happy they are living in a cardboard box, the gratitude that they have.
Right.
It was something that always stuck with me. And then from there, I came back to the States and to Colorado Springs, Peterson Air Force Base, and finished my career there for 4.5 years. And I took the early out in '95 to actually go back and play college football at Southeast Missouri State with my little brother, who was All-American by then. And so I took the early out with the honorable, and while I was getting ready for that, an older classmate, kind of a mentor, older brother of mine, said, man, Klund boy, like, you're going to be like 30 when you graduate, number one. Number two, you're not going to get past the semester. You're going to go, all you want is, again, girls and football. You're only going to be one semester. Like, come work for me. And I was like, man, what are you doing nowadays? He's like, I'm selling trailers. And I was like, I'm going to SEMO playing football. And then I saw what he was making in the 90s from selling manufactured homes. And I saw how amazing manufactured homes were being made compared to the ones I grew up in. And, I talked to the head football coach, and he was like, Klund, I'm a D1 football coach. I got my master's. I'm making like $75 a year. So if you can go make that without student loan debt and all the craziness, go do it. And so that's what I did. I went in manufactured housing. A Fortune 500 group, Oakwood Homes, recruited me from there, and that's what brought me to Texas in 99, 2000. And met my wife and was in a car accident in 2000 and had to have my face replaced on my actual 30th birthday. Fell asleep at the wheel, and that's probably a big moment, changed my life, because it was like, man, life's too short to work 7 days a week, and I don't care how much money I'm getting paid. And
Right. It's a wake-up call.
Yeah, we got a couple of small kids, and it's got to be something different. And I'll never forget, my wife came home and, what's our game plan? You going back from work? She's like, what's our game plan? You going back to manufacturing homes? Or, well, no, I'm not doing that anymore. What's your game plan? I said, I think I'm going to be a Jerry Maguire. I was watching Jerry Maguire on TV, and she was like, oh my God, you got brain damage. Like, you don't even have a degree. You're not an attorney. Just let me tell you out. You're not an attorney. You don't have a degree. You don't even know a professional athlete. Like, what are you talking about? And I was only 30 at the time. I said, I just think I'd be good at that, and it'd be fun, and a buddy of mine from the older days called me and, hey, are you going back to mobile homes? No. Hey, we're looking for a VP in the corporate world if you want to come over here and look at that. And so I went and did that and got involved with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and actually went to go meet Charles Pearson, the CEO at the time from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and ended up meeting my first athlete in between, Lemuel Stinson. And while I was waiting on him to show up, met him, and he was Chicago Bears, and he and I started doing stuff together, and the rest is history.
Right.
Wow,
So
that
it
is
just kind of took from there, yeah. So, and then I was in corporate America until 2008, and as you know, when the bottom fell out in 2008, the shareholders came to me and were like, we got to get rid of half this company, and I was like, great, start with me, I'm out of here, because either we all stay or I'm leaving. I'm first one to go. And after some back and forth, because they're like, yeah, you're not leaving, I'm like, either I'm leaving or nobody's leaving. That's your choices. And by the time it was done, yeah, I left and went home, told my wife, now stay home, Mom. What are you doing home? I'm like, oh, it's interesting. I resigned today. And that was really right before the big crash. Right. So then the big crash came. Then we had our rear end handed to us for about 18 months, and got out of that and decided that, if I'm going to bet on anybody, I'll bet on myself. And that's kind of how everything else fell into place. So 16 years since I've been in the corporate America, and and then again we started these games in 2015 was our first one, and it was just how do we get back and have fun doing it, and again, the rest is history.
Right.
It's just about meeting great people like you guys and just having fun and enjoying life, and that's kind of where we've been.
That is amazing.
That's
and
great.
so you've got, we were talking, you have 4 kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of
Absolutely
them
amazing.
gone through, they have that sweet mom that's like, "Oh, we'll pay for your college," and I'm like
Dad's
the old
like,
grandpa going, scholarship or military, you choose.
Right. Get out there and work.
But they've all done phenomenal, and they've all done really well. And so the only one left is the baby girl. So we have the 3 boys and then baby girl, and she just went in her junior year at University of Colorado.
Okay.
So she's kind of my little hippie chick. She's kind of like her grandmother. She's a little granola, a little hippie. So her first semester was University of Hawaii,
Okay.
which I'm like,
Hey,
okay, vacation time here.
Right.
Like,
my daughter
we're
says,
in.
what if I apply to University of Hawaii? I'm like, go for it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
I'm okay
I've
with
told
that.
my kids, like, all of them, like, if you're smart, you'll go to University of Hawaii. Your mom and dad's paying for it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I would
Right.
go vacation over there, too, if I was you guys. But she's the only smart one that actually took us up on it. Unfortunately, she got there right at the end of COVID, so they're still doing the classes from the computers. They weren't doing no classroom. The stadium was you can only get halfway, fill the stadium halfway.
yeah.
Right.
And then after her first semester of basically surfing, and that's why I was asking her, like, what classes are you taking? Because all I see is you're surfing all the time, and and having fun, and honestly probably smoking a bunch of cannabis over there. And so what else is going on? She's 4.0 student, so I can't get onto her.
Can't
too
complain.
much,
That's right.
And then after that, she was like, what do you think about me going to the University of Colorado? And I was like, man, that's one of my favorite universities growing up. That's where I actually want to go. And so I'm like, oh, 100%. Then we got Coach Prime there right after, which I'm like, yes.
Right.
Now
That's
we're
been
in business
interesting.
here. Yeah. So it's been fun. We're actually going to the CU game at the end of November. I think it's their last home game, because my wife's like, they'll have the Christmas tree lights up in Vail. We can go there and go hit Vail at the same time. I'm like, oh, here we go. So we're going for a family vacation now for extended football weekend, so
Right.
we
Hey,
can go shopping in Vail. So
I mean,
okay.
nothing wrong with that. And
I
man,
guess not.
The hire of prime time, he filled the seats.
Oh, he's turned that entire program around. I mean, he literally revived that entire program. and the excitement and atmosphere on campus. And, you know, again, I have a ton of celebrity friends that they don't miss the home. They'll fly up just for the home games. You know, your Michael Irvins, your Terrell Owens,
Right,
your,
of course.
and now he's hired Warren Sapp. And, you know, it's so crazy, you know, what he's done to that program. And, you know, even what he did as a high school football coach, you know, when he was here in town as a high school, you know, what he did for that high school program and, you know, and just elevated. And now, you know, I'm hearing you know, if Mike McCarthy don't win a Super Bowl, we need Dion here. We need prime time. I'm like, man,
I'm
you know,
not
that's
sure
right
Jerry
up
would go
Jerry's
for that.
alley. I mean,
That's right.
you want the circus in town, go ahead and bring prime time because you'll have the circus 24/7 in town. So, but, you know, Coach Prime is, you know, he's dedicated. He is phenomenal. You know, a lot of people don't know this about Coach Prime. So when he was in high school, my little brother was the defensive coordinator for Southwest Baptist University. So he would recruit kids down here and give them scholarships. And he got a couple of Coach Prime's kids. And he told me that every Friday afternoon, while Coach Prime's getting ready for a Friday night light game, he would text my little brother and be like, hey, how's my guys doing? How are they doing in school? How are they doing in practice? Are they keeping up? Are they checked on them every week? And this is before he's getting ready for his own Friday night lights, right? And so a lot of people, and, you know, I was telling my little brother, well, you just had a couple of his players. You know, how many other coaches had his players that he's texting everybody and following up on all his guys? And honestly, don't think he'll leave college football. He might because he's just so competitive, but I think that's his perfect wheelhouse to be a good mentor for young men and helping them get to another level. And plus, I don't know if they can pay him the money in the NFL what he's making in college with all the commercials and NIL and everything else he's got going on right now.
Well, and
so.
all of the press that, you know, surrounds him, good, bad, whatever it is, it's nice to know, you know, people don't know that about him.
Yeah, well,
That he's a true coach and mentor.
It's like, you know, the media has a way of portraying everybody. They love the villains.
Yes.
They do.
And they don't know that he's really a hero. And the one thing about Coach Prime is what I've learned from him is you got Deion Sanders and you got prime time, right?
Right.
So turn all these lights off, turn the cameras off, and let Coach Prime be sitting in here talking, and he's going to be Deion. Just, you know, but blow the lights on, sunglasses are coming on. Now you got Coach Prime.
That's right.
Right. So I've learned from him from the first athlete I worked at and doing interviews and being out there and being a part of it that, and actually when I moved to Texas, I had an old rodeo guy started calling me TK. So that's kind of how the whole TK nickname came is when I moved down here in late 99, 2000.
Okay.
He was just started calling me TK and it just kind of stuck. But my wife hates TK.
I was going to say, does she
She
call you
absolutely
Timothy?
hates TK. Oh, yeah.
Timothy, Timmy?
People ask her, like, well, what do you call him TK? Absolutely not. Like, I call him Tim.
Tim.
Right?
Okay.
So she hates the prime time. And then, she likes the Tim that, let me get home and throw the old, I don't even know what those house shoes are called, all furry. I don't know. She has the boots, but I've got the
Uggs.
The Uggs, thank you.
it. That's
Yes. So, just completely different, two opposite people, right? But it's like, man, when you got to be out in public and doing your thing, then you got one persona that sells, and then you got the thank God I'm Tim Klund sitting at home persona, probably sifting through football cards or baseball cards. So that's my passion.
Right.
Is ever since I've been little, is I just like that's what kind of like if I need to go defrag, I got 80,000 baseball and football and sports cards, and I'll just kind of just start going and grab a box and start sifting. That's what I do to relax.
Wow, that's
great.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's great.
That's incredible. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and we will be right back.
All right. With TK.
This show is brought to you by the Celebrity Softball Classic. Rocky?
I know. CelebritySoftballClassic.org is where they can get their tickets.
And we have TK right here. We're trying to keep TK in our back pocket, who runs it because, Rocky, we want to get in.
Yeah, security issues.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Go to the website, CelebritySoftballClassic.org. It's at Frisco Rough Rider Stadium, which is an amazing venue, by the way.
Probably the best minor league park in America.
Yeah, I love it out there, Rocky.
Funnest.
The place is going to be full of rock stars, and so if you want to do a sponsorship, that's still available. There's still a couple of slots. Isn't that right, TK?
Yeah, some suites available. About 3 suites are available. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Do it.
hey, bunch of celebrities, some veterans, an amazing organization putting on a great show for everyone, and Rocky and I.
Yeah, we had a blast last year, man. We didn't get thrown out till like 4:00.
No, no, you're right. yeah.
Perfect.
It was we paid them
Starts
off.
at 5, gates open at 5. We have pregame stuff going on. Going to be donating a house to an unsuspected veteran there. Fireworks will be going off at the end of the night. It's going to be a host show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Check them out. Brought to you by Verve. This show is brought to you by the Celebrity Softball Classic. Go check them out.
We are back to Raising the Bar podcast with TK. All right, TK, I mean, you're an incredible person. I think I said that, when we first started this, but just learning more about you, and you are an author.
Unfortunately, yes.
So tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, again, kind of like we were talking about, it wasn't something we're like, I want to write a book.
Well, hold on. It's Stop Whining, Start Winning is the current book.
Start winning, stop whining, start winning.
Start
Yes,
winning,
thank
but
you.
that's not how it started.
Well, it started. I started a performance mouthpiece company in 2010 with another partner of mine, and as we
Which is Verve, which is
well,
your hat.
it was a different company under that brand, and just wasn't going anywhere. We just couldn't. Me and him just was not. I was like, we need to get the price lower. We need to.
Right.
And he didn't want to do it, so I was like, buy me out. I'm good. Just buy me out, which he did. And so then it was like, okay, now here I am, square one again. What am I going to do at the end of 2016? And I was doing some speaking engagements and stuff to just honestly pay my bills. And I enjoyed doing that anyway with corporates. And so a friend of mine called, and he was like, hey, I need to get you with our publisher. You need to write a book because you're out speaking. You need a book. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And no, you got to do it. And so long story short, we wrote it. It was a biography. And again, as we were talking, it's very therapeutic to write, to like really reflect on your entire life. I tell people all the time, like, take some time and just go do it, because you'll be amazed at what you remember and how, where you're at, right? And so, but then I reread it and I was like, man, this book sucks. It's my life, and I wouldn't sell this to anybody. It don't get me inspired. I don't think it's overly inspiring on what I've gone through to get to where I'm at. So I called them back, told them, and they were like, no, you need a book. And I was like, if you let me write something that can help young adults, your middle of the road, young corporate individuals coming into the corporate world, or even managers, mid-level managers, if you let me write that book that can help them, then I'm in. And so they're like, okay, do it. So while I was working on it, I was probably whining to my wife or something, and she was like, you know what? I would love it if you would stop whining and get back to winning. That's what she said.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, there's the book title.
That's the book title.
Stop
Of
whining,
course.
start winning, right? So that's actually how it came. And then we wrote the book, and then they were like, no, this book's too thin. And it's like, well, I'm done. And they were like, okay, we'll publish it. Now it's been published 3 times by 2 different companies. And it's just kind of funny for me to think about it. I just want to call my old English teacher up and go, oh my God, Miss Probst, check it out.
That's right.
You had to float me through your class, and here
That's
I am, an
right.
author now, and they have it in the library at my own high school. And so it's just kind of funny, but, a lot of people had help with that. Obviously, thank God for the editors that, how to make me look smart and make it look, clean it all up. So, but no, they made it into a workbook, and it's literally, that's what it is. It's more of, as we were talking as well, school was so boring to me, because it wasn't showing me how to make money. That's when I got out of the military, and I took a semester of school in the military, 4.0. I think I had 3 or 4 classes, I don't remember. And my wife's like, you're smart. And I'm like, I had to pay for those. If I didn't get a certain grade point average, I would have had to pay for those classes. They were free if I got over it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was so worried I would have had to
Right.
pay for them that,
You had motivation.
I got 4.0,
That was-
right?
right.
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, this is cutting into my softball game, so I'm done with college. And but yeah, it's just interesting how it goes. But what I want to teach kids, or even young adults in that book, and really, I've had 70-year-olds call me and go, hey, I got your book. I really loved it. And this helped me. So it's really anybody in between. It's just kind of a reflection of some of the things I've done to get to where I'm at. And when I got out of the Air Force, Tony Robbins was just kind of kicking in.
Right.
And he came out with this first cassette thing. And it was, I want to say Awaken the Giant is what it was. And so here I am starting in this manufactured home, this mom and pop's home, Southeast Missouri. And the VP that they had, she was a big individual on improving yourself. So she was like, hey guys, I got this new cassette thing. Anthony Robbins, I don't think they were calling him Tony at the time,
Right.
and said, who wants to stay in after hour after work every day and listen? And everybody's like, all the older guys are like, I'm out of here. And I felt bad for her. So I was like, I'll stay with you, I mean, I'm like not even 25 yet. So I'm like, what do I got to lose? I'll stay with you and, and listen to these things. And we went through the whole cassette tape. And I remember you were taking notes and we're listening. We're being heard back and forth talking. And I remember at the very end going, basically, he's just saying, find somebody who's doing what you would want to do and cheat. Is this what I'm reading? Is this what these whole cassettes were about here? Like,
That's
is this what it boils
In a
down to?
nutshell.
And she was kind of like, I believe it is. And that's when it kicked into me like, man, that's perfect for me because, I mean, I'm still upset that the girl who sat next to me for 4 years in high school was a National Honor Society student and I wasn't. I didn't throw off that much.
Right.
I'm like, hey, Kathy, slide the paper.
Yeah, let me see.
What we got?
That's right.
I didn't throw off that much, and she's National Honor Society student. I didn't even have high enough grades to get in JUCO, basically. So, but yeah, so I was like, okay, so from a professional standpoint, it really hit me home to go, okay, where do I want to be? What do I want to do? Even after 2017, I started having everybody calling me, going, hey, come with us. And, we want to bring in our company. And my wife's like, I don't know why you don't do your own brand in your own companies. She's like, you did great in corporate America. You're always the minority partner, never the majority. So you don't have the control at the end of the day. And I was like, man, I've got this celebrity game coming up with Clemens. I don't even have time to think about this. And then I was thinking about it for like probably 45 days after that. And so as soon as the game was over, that's when I was like, you know what? Let me surround myself with the smartest people I can find. And I'm going to build this brand. And kind of what we were talking about with Verve, the word Verve Systems, LLC is our actual overview on our company. But I remember when we were going into the mouthpieces, I was going to be like beast mode or something, mouthpieces. And my business partner is one of the top branding guys in the country. Raj was like, let me work on the corporate brand side. And he came back and said, hey, we're going to be Verve Systems. I mean, what is a Verve?
Right.
And then if you look up the word, it's basically, I guess it's an adjective full of great adjectives like enthusiasm, ability, all the good adjectives are in the word Verve, right? So then I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then it just grew from there with all the product lines that we've done. And then I actually bought my old company back, the old Performance Mouthpiece Company. I actually have that back underneath our flag now. So we bought it back in 21 and do all the custom side, but we have a retail mouthpiece that's coming out as well. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. So, I'm unfortunately the face, the relationship guy, and then all the smart people are in the back.
Right. Of course.
I like to just be those guys that don't really like to be out front, don't like to have to do a lot of communicating with everybody.
But
It's
you do it
just,
so well.
TK's just like,
You do. You do it
you-
well.
they do the hard work. They do all the homework.
Right.
Right. TK's like, hey, we got an assignment. Here y'all go. Tell
Right.
me what we're doing and how we're going to do this. Right. And that's kind of, so it's a perfect, so like my first partner, we were both the same side of the brain. And man, me and him would pull each other in the bottom of the
can't do
punch
that,
bowl
yeah.
faster than anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I never had the other side, the conscious side. So if I'm going, hey, we're doing this, and I got my partner Raj going, but let's think through this. So it's been such a great relationship with me and him that it's been able to continue to grow and develop, and it's been awesome.
Hey, that's
Okay,
why
so-
we work.
Is that why we work? Are you
It
the left
does.
side or right side?
Well, I'm the one that says, hey, this is what we're doing. And you're
I
like,
go,
yeah,
well, hold
back-
on a minute.
Right, wait
Think
a minute.
about
That's
right.
us. That's why you're so good. Yes.
Okay, so back to your book for a minute. So if anybody wants to get a copy of this book, where do they
They
go?
can just go
Where
on
do they find it?
Amazon.com and type in Stop Whining, Start Winning by
Okay.
Tim Klund.
Okay, got it. All right, perfect.
I'm gonna do it as soon as we
Okay.
as soon as we
yeah.
finish here. I'm gonna
I like,
order it.
I like the fact that it's a workbook, right?
I
There's
know,
something
right?
we can read and then work on it.
Well, and it's thin.
It's thin, yeah.
Super
I
thin.
mean,
No,
that,
all
oh,
about
you
right.
sold us on that one.
That's
I'm
right.
not a big, like, if I look at something that's like this, it's like, I'm good. Let
Okay,
me just move
so
on.
so back to the celebrity softball game that's coming up. I guess
Yep.
it's October 5th.
October 5th,
Okay.
Frisco Rough Riders.
And if anybody wants to donate or be a sponsor or whatever, where do they go and how
They
do they
can
do
go
that?
to celebritysoftballclassic.org.
Okay.
And everything's on there. You can buy tickets from there. You can donate through there. You can do everything. All the rosters are up, and we've got. I mean, the rosters are so. We've probably got 75, 80 people per team.
Okay.
I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. Probably out of that 75, 80 people per team, probably 90% don't even want to play. They
Okay.
just want to show up, have fun, hang out. But you got everybody from Terrell Owens who is playing. Jim McMahon, who obviously is not playing.
Right, okay.
You know, Tony Casillas and I saw Tony again the other night, and I'm like, by the way, like, do you want to play? Like, absolutely not. I want to coach a base with cocktail man.
That sounds like
Absolutely
It
Tony.
does,
perfect.
That's
it
right.
It's
does.
absolutely
That's right.
perfect. We can do that. So, so Tony's doing that, and then you got people like Dan Pastorini, who his rookie year I think was 71, 72 in the NFL, and just a legend with the Houston Oilers. Who's like a big brother of mine.
These
A
are
lot,
great
you know.
old names.
Oh, I mean, I'm, you know,
amazing.
again, I'm a fan.
I used
I'm
to
a
idol
fanboy,
them.
right? Well, Jim
Right.
McMahon is the reason why I wear number 9. Actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Because of him, and my wife's like, I can't. When I've met Jim McMahon on several occasions, but my wife, she met him one time, I think at Super Bowl in Jacksonville, and it was just brief. But she was like, I can't wait to have a talk with Jim McMahon because of him. I got to deal with you, because you know he was the anti-authoritarian, you know, punky QB.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that was
of
right when I was
course.
14,
He was.
15 years old, and he was.
That's right.
And I was a huge Bear fan. I grew up in Southeast Missouri, so we either got the Bears on TV or we got the Cowboys, and those were obviously my 2 favorite teams. So the Cowboys of the 70s, by far my favorite team. The
course.
Bears of the 80s were
Yep.
my favorite team.
That's it.
And so for me to have a relationship with Mad Mac, and you know, he's coming to play in the game, and so my wife is just like, I can't wait to speak with Jim McMahon. And I was like, you probably won't remember much of it, but feel free to fire off all you want. She's like, oh,
right.
Just wait.
you know, yeah, she's like, oh, I can't wait to talk. I was like, yeah, well, luckily he's not that old punky QB anymore. But
Right.
yeah, but I mean, so him and then for Saturday, we only got really OU games. So I
Okay.
had Bosworth.
Yep.
So I
Of
had the
course.
Boz.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yep.
So when you got your 2 favorite people are the Boz and Jim McMahon growing up, and they're both anti-authoritarian, cut our hair crazy,
Correct.
be that kid. I mean, I was the epitome of both those guys. And
Okay.
let me just play sports and just have fun and not really care too much about anything else. And unfortunately, that's where I was in high school, and probably not much different in life, honestly. My wife, I tell everybody, if I'd listened to my wife 10 years earlier, I'd probably already be retired and disappeared off this planet in a good way.
Right.
Because, you know, I was just hard-headed, like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And finally now, everybody I meet, everything we do usually has to go through her first.
Yeah.
Because she's the real brains in the family. So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting how it's been. But you got Jimmy Mack, we have a bunch of people from The Chosen, some friends of mine from The Chosen. Jordan Ross, who plays Little James. You know, it's crazy. I didn't realize his dad, Jimmy Ross, is the mayor of Arlington. And
Okay.
Jimmy has played in our games, and he's a great friend of mine. I had no idea Jordan Ross was his son. So when I got a phone call from him, can I play? I'm like, oh, of course. You know, you're on Chosen, and I hadn't seen it yet at that point. But I knew it was a big series, and so then it was funny. Not too long later, he was like, "Yeah, my dad told me to tell you hi," and I'm like, "Well, I'm with my dad. Who's your dad?" Jim Ross. I'm like, "What?" So it was kind of funny. And then here's what happens: a lot of these celebrities, Eric Nelson from 1883, who's he's won 3 Emmys, unbelievable
course.
actor.
Yep.
So they come and play, and they put it on their social media. And then what happens? All the other celebrities that have acted with them or know them, or so they're going, "Oh my God, how'd you get in that game?
How'd you do that? Right. It's a
We
lot.
wanna
It's like
get
a lot
in."
of fun.
So, yeah. So
Correct.
now they're going, well, get a hold of TK, and so that's kind of how it just continues to go and grow, and the relationships that luckily for me, I get to meet everybody and get to know everybody, and then they come and we have a great weekend. And as you know, this has really turned into a family reunion weekend. Is what it is. I
Okay.
mean, you can't get rid of these people now. Like it's something now that I told my wife, I think this is going to be it. Number 10, because people don't realize the man hours and just everything that goes into this thing every single year. And I tell people it's literally like having a baby. At the beginning of 9 months, you find out you're pregnant. That's usually about the time I've got my date in play. And then, the first 90 days is glorious, and you're talking to people and everybody's getting excited. And then you go through your next 90 days, you're kind of like, oh man, okay, got to deal with all this craziness here. And the last 90 days you're going, from my wife's standpoint, when she was like, I can't wait for this baby to get out of here. And that's kind of how it is the last 90 days, where you're just like, oh my God, I can't wait till this thing's over. I'm never doing another one. I'm done with this. And then you got your last month, and then you got your last week. And the last week, it's kind of like the baby's being pushed out. And then it shows up and it's glorious. And that's usually about Thursday of the week. The baby's here. Now everybody's flying in. Now you're excited. Now you're seeing everybody, and it's just glorious. And then as soon as the game's over, you're like, yes, we'll do another one maybe. And then by the time we start looking at the schedule, we're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. It's like this every year. But my wife was like, I don't know how you could be so selfish not to do these anymore.
Well, people, they're not going to let you not do
No.
it.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's why she's like,
People
I don't
will not
know,
let you
like
do
how
that.
selfish. Now, I will tell you one thing that really does the why behind this, and one of the big whys for me was just selfish reasons. Is a great way for me to see everybody per year. I mean, I've got the guy who actually taught me really how to play softball when I was 18 in the Philippines, my roommate in the Philippines, George Tennyson, who was like, you're a good baseball player, but you don't understand softball. And I'm like, dude, it's softball, right?
Right.
And then I didn't make the base team the first time around. And then he was like, are you ready to listen? Sure. And so he comes to these games, right? So, and plays in them because he played on the All Air Force team. And then I've got people who I was stationed with the Philippines, people I was stationed with Colorado Springs. I've got high school friends from elementary all the way through that come to these weekends because I always want to share back. I want people from my hometown to be able to come experience what I get to experience and have fun. And so a lot of them come and enjoy the weekend. And, you got the Gronkowski brothers, and it's just all over the place. It really is a gumbo pot of everybody that comes to this and enjoys the whole weekend. And but one thing in particular, and we have veterans on all these teams too, right? So, I mean, probably half the team's veterans, amputees, wounded warriors, guys and girls been blown up, guys and girls who have done great things post-military career, whether country music singers or authors or speakers or motivational speakers. And again, it's all over the place. I mean, we had Ray Kashkar, who's part of the SEAL Team 6, who was part of the Bin Laden raid, when they took him out, playing these games. We got Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg playing this year, who's, Big Flo lives in Frisco now, which is great having him local. And so Big Flo's playing in it. And then we got Vincent Vargas, who's been on all the Mayan series, who's ex-Army, playing in it. So it's just a lot of fun of all these guys. But in 2021, a friend of mine asked if this veteran could play. And I was like, yeah, he can play. And I was texting him, and he was just very unresponsive. It was always yes, no. And some military guys, and he was a Marine, so a lot of those guys are, I don't really know you, so I'm just going to give you the quick on the answer. I don't want to really talk to you. So sometimes you get that. Well, at our Friday night party, there's a guy standing on the wall, beer in hand, hand in pocket, just watching. And, it sticks out when you're at that because nobody's just not talking and not, so it kind of stuck out to me. And I finally went over there and introduced myself and found out it was him and, and asked him, well, are you a sports fan? Of course. And I said, well, anybody want, well, I see Michael Irvin over there. And I'm like, well, let's go talk to him. I don't want to bother him. I'm like, no, he wants you to bother him. He's excited to see you as a military hero, as you're excited to see him. That's why he's here. He wants to meet you. And there's a DOC from NWA and all these guys and girls. So I'm taking him around. Then I get him with a bunch of Marines that are now circled up. And, being Air Force, I don't talk Marine language. It's a completely different animal of language. The Marine Corps, everything that they're just entire communications, obviously a little different than the Air Force. So I throw him in the pit with his buddies, and they're having a great time. And then I just kind of kept seeing him throughout the weekend, and he was having a great time. Didn't think twice about it. Well, that following Tuesday, he sent me a text, which is almost a book. But the short of it was that I've been dealing with a lot of things. I appreciate this girl inviting me. I literally already had a letter. I was going to take my life before I was even going to leave, but decided to go out one last bang with your weekend. I already had the letter written, had the gun waiting on the letter, was literally going to come home, drop my bag, and take my life. Oh, my gosh. And because of your weekend, I came home, I sit down, I read the letter, and I think, how crazy was I to think that that's what I needed to do.
Right.
He's like, I literally tore the letter up, put it in the trash, unloaded my gun, put it away, and, pulled up my britches and got back to work in life. And now he's been married, got a baby, still comes every year.
Amazing.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
And so that's what really got me to go. this is making a difference. And I was
That's
talking
right.
to another good friend of mine, Major Scott Husing, who wrote the book Echo and Ramadi. So he was in charge of going door to door with the Marine Corps in Ramadi. And he was like, TK, you know, how many individuals don't tell you that are in the same boat that come and enjoy the weekend, but just don't tell it. Don't tell you, don't tell us. So that's another reason why it's just like, you just never know what people are going through sometimes. And it's just like, I think a lot of people in life take life way too serious to a certain extent and worry about so many things they probably shouldn't even waste their energy on worrying about.
That's right.
I'm a big energy frequency type person and vibration type person. So if I go to somewhere and it's just not fun, I won't be there very long.
Right.
Like, I'm out of here. Like, this place is dreadful. Or if I'm around somebody whose energy's low, or, you know, somebody who complains a lot, I'm out of here.
It's not
Right.
worth it.
Like, I love you, but I can't. I'm not going to let you drag me down, right? So, but that's just kind of how I've been in my whole life. It's just like, man, you know, let's just have fun. Let's enjoy life. You don't know when it's going to be your last day anyway.
That's right.
So if I'm going out on TK's schedule and do what I want to do, and I'm going to enjoy my life on how I want to enjoy it. And I don't really care about playing by society's rules for the most part, to be honest with you. I feel like be good to everybody, treat everybody great, and just have fun. But I'm
Right.
completely outside your norm of what most people are in life, be honest with you.
Well, I mean, it's refreshing.
It is
It's
refreshing. I mean, you're
because he and I are always talking about it. Life is
Right.
way too short, and attorneys are boring. So think outside the box
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
and just have fun.
Come hang out with me for a little while. You'll turn this place upside. Your dad would be going, what is going on with my
Oh no,
kids?
he'd love it.
Yeah,
he
would.
would love
good.
it. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He always taught us life is too short. If you can't wake up every day enjoying what you're about to do, then
Yeah.
find
Go do-
something else.
go do something else.
100%.
That's
exactly
and,
right. So you're making a difference in people's lives.
I hope so.
You can't go anywhere because you're darn good at it. So it's amazing
We just
having
know-
people like you in this world.
We just
Thank
know how
you.
to throw a good party.
That's right.
So
okay, that's
I
it.
remember when we did our first Super Bowl party, I told my wife, I'm going to do a Super Bowl party at Jacksonville. And we went to the one in Houston the year before, and we were invited to a lot of them. And I'm just kind of like, I'm going to do my own. And she was like, you're nuts. And I'm like, I know, that's what you married. But we're doing it. And we did it. We got voted the number one Super Bowl party by the Detroit Free Press that year in Jacksonville, because we opened it up to the public. We probably had 3,000 people there, but nobody had done Super Bowl parties on Thursday yet. And everybody
okay.
was telling me at that time, like, not going to get anybody here. And I'm thinking, everybody's already in town, and there's not anything going on. So my mindset is, we're going to get everybody here. And so we did. And I mean, if there was a celebrity in Jacksonville, they were at our party. I'm not kidding. Like, when Ben Affleck and J-Lo were first dating, right? They were there. I mean, you had The Rock, you had Jeff Gordon, and then so at the same time while all these people are coming through, that was another time where I was building all my relationships early on, because I'm meeting all these people and we're exchanging phone numbers and staying in contact from there. And but I told my wife, like, man, I got through high school. My family didn't have any money, so the only way you're going to have money is you either baled hay, threw watermelons, or you threw parties, and you just collected at the door, and everybody pitch in for the keg, and we all get our money back. And then that's where I was like, oh, I love capitalism. I can
That's
appreciate
exactly
this.
right.
And that's basically how I lived for through my high school years, is keg parties. And I didn't have to really work, but I did have to throw off every now and then, go do melons or hay, just so my dad wouldn't get too overly suspicious on where the cash was coming from.
That's right.
Which is also, part of our all-season workout for sports too. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, everybody, life just puts you sometimes in a box, I think, of this is how things got to be, and this is how you got to live, and this is where you got to be. And I'm just complete opposite of that. Personally.
It's refreshing, and it is. It's all about relationships. And I mean, what makes me sad today is everyone is so tied to their phone
Oh yeah.
that they don't know how to read a room. They don't get relationships. No, they don't know how to their social skills.
Everybody's heads are down. And most people want to communicate via text,
Yep.
or
Right.
won't even get on a call, and which drives me crazy too, because I'm like, man, let's just jump on a call, because I can get a phone call knocked out in 3 or 4 minutes. We're 30 minutes into a text
Yes.
conversation.
Yep.
I could have had done in 5 minutes, and I
Drives
don't have
me
time. I don't have
nuts.
time texting.
That's
And that's
that's
usually
exactly
it takes
what we
that
do.
message before somebody's finally like, okay, call me.
Just pick
That's
up the
all
phone.
right. Gary doesn't respond to texts.
I don't.
You
I
can
refuse
text
to.
him
Yeah.
all you want.
I refuse to. Pick up the phone and call me.
Just call me.
I'll
yes.
answer it.
Yes.
Correct.
I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
And then there's some people, go ahead and text me. I'd rather not get on a phone call with you.
That's true. No, you're right.
Because
You pick and choose those people.
I need the 19 hours back in my day, just shooting the breeze. But yeah, so
Well,
there's
that's
some people
exactly
that,
right.
the phone will ring and I'll look at it. My wife's like, God, don't answer it. And I'm like, I've got to answer it. So Mark Furcarell, you know who I'm talking about.
Right,
So,
okay.
Boston bombing survivor, Mark Furcarell, who also comes and plays in all the games. He's been in almost
Okay.
every one, I think. And he was, the second bomb that went off was like literally right on his leg.
Oh,
Wow.
And because it was so close to his leg that he took the blunt of it, that it didn't explode out like it should have.
Wow.
And but he's such an inspiration, and and he and I are, two peas of the same pod. So if me and him do get on a phone call together, we will literally spend an hour on nothing.
Okay.
And
Right.
That's why
Right.
my wife knows if we're together, like, don't do it, because I know how you two guys are going to be, right? So
Okay.
but I mean, from him to, like I said, Evan Vasarius, who plays Tuck in the show Ozark, who I wouldn't say he has a disability, but probably a little bit of autism, but comes to every game, and now now they're actually batting. So there are a few kids. There's a young man named Trey Brandt that is super smart with Downs, but super smart. I mean, all these kids that a lot of people look at and they're like, oh, they have disabilities. I can't see the disabilities in some of these
Right.
kids. I really can't.
right.
And then I do a lot with Miracle League, Parker County in West Fort Worth. And, I've done it for 9 years, and we have 2 seasons. We have a spring and fall, and it's just a special needs baseball. That's what it is. And it's amazing to me, like some of the parents will, I've gotten to know all these kids and these parents over the years, and, oh, he's dealing with this and that. And I'm looking at the little kid going, I don't see it. Like, I know you can't understand what he's saying. I can completely understand him. It's weird, right, with some of these kids, how it works. And so we have a few of them that play. And so if you don't mind, I'll tell you real quick kind of how the game's going to go.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
So we'll do a quick check presentation with all 20. Literally, we're going to line them up, and they're going to shotgun them around, tell them how much they brought in, and, that type of deal. But one of my favorite things about this game is that we have World War II veteran who's 99 years old, Don Graves. He survived Iwo Jima. So he literally saw the
Wow.
flag go up twice.
Yeah. Nice.
He sings our national anthem every year. And, gosh, I mean, probably when he's 91, 92, I thought, how many more years are we going to have Don Graves around? So I got him in the studio to do the national anthem, because it was like, no matter if he's here or not here, he's going to be our national anthem guy. Because that's probably number one thing I get from everybody. Who's singing national anthem? I sing national anthem. Nope, Don Graves singing
His
national
voice. Correct.
yeah, whether he's in person or he's on the Jumbotron, he's singing it. But he'll be in person this year, which is always such a pleasure. And we'll have some of his World War II buddies, beer drinking buddies, that will be with him at home plate, which I'm looking forward to. And I don't really get starstruck. Those guys get me starstruck. I love hearing their stories.
Right.
And, you think about growing up in the Great Depression and then World War II and then everything they've dealt with.
What they had
and
to
what they've
overcome.
seen for the,
Yeah, of
99 years, right? I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. And he's just still full of pep. And I always tell my wife, like, if you pass before me, don't worry. No, I'm going to go out like Don Graves. I'm going to be chasing all these young, beautiful women. I always have these young, beautiful women around me helping me and drinking beer. So
There you go.
just so you know. So then we have Vietnam veterans that will be throwing out the first pitch.
Okay.
We'll have a home run derby. We'll have the game. The starting lineup all the starting lineup. So then we do a couple of designated here. So it'll be like 12 people per starting lineup. All 12 will bat the first inning. So each team, all 12 will bat. And then starting the second inning, it will go to 3 outs or 5 runs. And then we're going to do a 9-inning game like baseball, but it's softball. But the 8th and 9th inning will be the veterans. Only the veterans are going. They're going to bring in. And then we have a little rock and jock in there too. So like when whoever wins the home run derby, you get 5 runs added to your score to begin the game, and you get to be the home team. So it's a double whammy win for you. And then for the veterans, when they're playing, anybody who actually hits it out of the field is 5 runs.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of add a little bonus on there that, and then we also, this year again, we have a red card that the coach, which Pat Serini is one coach, and Michael Kislak from the Cowboys is the other coach. Mike Renfro, who played with Pastorini, was going to be the other coach, but he got booked a gig and won't be in town. So Kislak, who played for the Cowboys, he's one of the other coaches. But let's say we're in the 5th inning, 6th inning, bases are loaded, 2 outs. like I can pull my red card and I can enter anybody into the game I want to at that point. So maybe it's going to be somebody who can hit a home run.
Right, of course.
And so you get that one challenge that you can do to stop everything to go, we're substituting somebody here. And then again, at the end of the game, because we don't do the chicken wire fence. So you either hit it out of the baseball stadium or you don't hit it out.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Okay.
And during the home run derby, like as you guys know in Frisco, they have this, the stadium first was in a field, and then they built up around the stadium.
Right.
These guys will literally be ringing people's doorbells. They hit the ball out of the stadium.
Wow.
It is nuts watching balls fly out of the stadium. People's cars parked outside. I mean, I don't know how many dents we left last year. A lot. And but I guess they're used to it. I mean, no complaints. But it's just crazy to see a softball go that far. And then at the end of the game, we have fireworks. And then Mary Milburn, who's an international recording artist, she will be singing "God Bless America" as the fireworks are going off and everything. So it'll be a full afternoon of production and fun. And tickets are only $10.
That is great.
First come,
Okay.
first served, $10.
Right.
So
Well, we can't wait.
No,
We-
yeah,
we
we're definitely
can't
going to be a
wait.
part of it.
It's gonna be an
Looking
absolute
forward to
blast.
it.
We're excited.
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Oh, yeah,
for
thank
being
you
on our
guys for having
show.
me.
This was amazing.
It has been.
Absolutely
Thank you, guys.
amazing.
Did you ask him? Sorry, we're gonna cut me talking out, obviously. But one or two sentence advice for raising the bar.
Oh,
Is he
how to-
raised the
Okay.
bar? So
Here,
I need
okay,
you
go
to
ahead.
Ask that, and then also, I know you guys have funny softball stories, so you gotta share a couple of funny softball stories too. So, how do you raise the bar? And then, softball bloopers. Everybody's trying to hit it out of the ballpark, and then they hit their leg or sliding in, doing
All right.
splits or whatever. So, those two things.
All right. So I guess
Got it.
we'll
Yeah,
start
I mean,
with
we
the-
have lost a leg on the field before. Somebody
Oh.
one of that
Ow.
amputee legs will fall
Oh,
off.
my
We've
God.
had a few of those. Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
no,
because they
so-
were prosthetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had
Oh.
prosthetic legs on.
Yes. No, what are you thinking?
That. What are you thinking?
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was clarifying for the listeners. I don't know.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
A little
so-
traumatizing to the crowd at first, and then they
Right.
realize
guess so.
all of a
They
sudden the leg
realize.
falls off.
Hold on. That's right.
It's just straight tilt to the ground, right? And
Oh my
and so
God.
the crowd's a little shocked at the beginning, but
They
No,
are.
So we not, Gary and I played softball for, I think I was with y'all for over 10 years.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
a little city league, but y'all started it in college.
For 15, 20 years
Yeah.
we did
we
it.
were
It
called
was
the
amazing.
Misfits, which
Oh, I love
was
it.
a perfect,
Yeah.
We were called the Misfits, sponsored by the firm, and
Yep.
and it was co-ed,
Yeah.
of course. You had to switch the balls. Is yours is
No.
co-ed or no?
yeah, it's co-ed.
but,
But do you switch the balls?
Okay.
You don't. Okay.
And we
all
don't move the bases. They're 90. We don't change the stadium out.
right. Okay. Right.
So it's 90 feet. It's again a little bit out of your ordinary. What
Right.
you get. Actually, the Rangers. A lot of the people that helped me with my game at the Texas Rangers. If you remember, we had the MLB All Star Weekend celebrity softball game there. Every one of them was like, "Did you watch it?" And I'm like, "Man, I kind of glanced at it." And they're like, "Your game was 100 times better than their game."
Oh,
Because they use the
Right.
chicken wire out there,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then they bring all the bases into the infield, the 60 foot instead of 90 feet. And he's like, even your celebrity teams were even, I would put them even better than what the MLB had, and which was is nice to hear that.
So Gary's gonna, I can tell you this, as soon as you leave and we go back to our offices, Gary's gonna say, okay, we need to get the softball team back together again.
We do. We do. It's in my blood. So I was the pitcher. Lori was
Yeah.
the catcher.
Yep.
And we used to scream and yell at each other, but we had a system down, and it
Yep.
was amazing, and
We had
it was a great time.
Well, again, that's the reason why I created these, because I was like, I can play in these.
Yeah.
Right.
And after about the first game, I think my wife was like, let me tell you what, nobody wants to see Tim Klund play. No offense. I know you're trying to live your, young
Right.
adult dreams out, but nobody wants to watch you play. And these are your events, and you need to take them more seriously, like Jerry Jones.
Right.
You need to be with your kissing the babies and hugging people and be with your sponsors and like do your thing on the field before, and then let's hit the sweeps or do whatever you need to do then. But you need to Jerry Jones this thing. You don't need to. Nobody cares about Tim Klund.
Right.
Like, okay. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I would love to watch you play.
No, I mean, I'm kind of like
What position were you?
I could play all of them.
All of them.
And
Okay.
that's what
Okay.
happened. That's what happened when George was like, you to be on the base team, you have to learn how to play everything.
Every
The
position.
only thing I
Correct.
didn't play was pitch.
Okay.
Everything else, but I could always hit, and so he's like, you gotta learn how to play your position. That way you can just get in where you fit in.
Right. Right.
And so that's really how. And I played on some civilian teams like TPS and Team Budweiser too.
Okay.
And I mean, my last 4 years of the Air Force literally was 7 days a week
Right.
softball.
Ah, that's your dream.
That is my
It was
dream, of
phenomenal.
course.
Yeah,
That
and
is
getting
your
paid
dream.
and getting take. We had TDY, and that's one reason why I got the early out because my commander I had a commander who loved it, and then he left, and I got a commander who hated it.
Right.
And then so he was the one who was like always on my rear end about traveling all the time. And that's when the early hours came. I was like, I'm out of here.
Right. Okay.
Like-
Okay.
All right, so craziest softball story.
So we've had a couple. So the first OUUT game, a lot of the veterans were on the field getting ready, and McConaughey and his son Levi, Matthew is introducing him guys, and I just happened to be walking by, and this one of our guys, Stetson, literally pulls his eyeball out, right? Because it's a prosthetic right in front of Levi,
Right.
And I mean, you see some of the guys like, oh, like,
Right.
and so I was kind of like, guys, like, let's don't traumatize Levi, right? Like, that's kind of could be traumatizing. And the thing that stood out is Matthew's like, no, TK, I want him to understand, what
right.
these guys and girls have gone through. So let him show them. I'm like, oh, okay, like, again, this little dude's going to be having nightmares because he was only like maybe 9 or 10 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And he was our bat boy.
Right. Okay.
And then one of the other fun things, and I think we have a video of it somewhere, is if you remember Wolf of Wall Street had come out not a couple years earlier.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, let's get the chant thing going. He said, man, I don't know. I was like, come on. And then Clemens was standing there. Clemens was like, yeah, let's do the chant. So we got him doing the, where he's doing that chant, and which was kind of fun. And then we've had some of our amputees that are, because when you get, everybody's fun, it's all fun and games until the game starts. Then the competitiveness kicks in, guys and girls, doesn't matter. And, we've had some of our window warriors that'll be just trucking a ball down in the outfield and prosthetic just pops off.
Right.
Right. Or we have one young man, Jason Koger, who's a TEDx speaker, and he was in a, I don't know, you call them on the farm, one of those little Rangers, and hit a power line and got electrocuted.
Wow.
And what happened is his arms, because he burned from the inside out when you get that, just started filling up with whatever. So they amputate his arms.
Wow.
So one of the big prosthetic companies for all these guys and girls is right here in Irving. So they fitted him with an arm that has a glove on it, and then they fitted him with a type of deal where he can hold a bat. And and Cody Jinks, country music singer, if you all have heard of Cody, who's phenomenal. Cody was helping him in between innings change out his prosthetics, right? Which Cody thought that was really cool. And then him and Cody were changing out in right field. So, and then we've had Shane Crutchin, who U.S. Marine Corps, UFC fighter, obviously a little mentally challenged to be a UFC fighter,
Right.
Just a nut job that we love. His first game, he showed up, he had a bow tie and the Marines USA flag civvies as his game gear. That's what he came out like. Where's your uniform?
Right.
He's
No,
like,
that was it.
I'm not playing in my
It is.
jersey today. I'm like,
See, that's
lock first
awesome.
base down, bro. There's no telling what you'll get. And then seeing people like Evan Vasarius and Trey Brandt, some of these guys. So what we do is we let them hit, and then they get around, and just seeing the excitement of doing it, right?
That's
Right.
amazing.
So it's just so much fun. And then the other thing I forgot to tell you is that we will give a house away, helping a hero. We'll actually surprise a veteran again this year, and we will
Okay.
give a home away. Paula Dean's going to come, or she's scheduled to come right now to help give that home away.
Okay.
Throw out a first pitch. So that's always inspiring too, because the veteran doesn't know they're getting it.
Wow.
Usually the wife
Right.
does, the family does.
Right.
The veteran usually has no clue. And when we did it at Globe Life Field with our buddy Travis Strong, to see this, he stepped on a mine that blew both his legs off right below his waist.
Wow.
And but he's just built like an Iron Man. He's unbelievable. But to see him get emotional and cry,
Yeah.
where you're like, here's the tough guy, right? And it's really just impounded him, right? Just flattened him. And it's just, and that's one of the number one things I got from most of, that's when we had 14,000 people at Club Life, but they were all like, by far the best thing was giving that home to a veteran.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is.
It's just
so
really,
heartwarming.
it's just expect craziness. It's always crazy.
All right.
Expect,
But fun.
it's always fun.
Bottom line,
it's
fun.
always a
You're
blast.
gonna have
It's
a good time.
blast.
Fun until they get on the field.
It's a blast.
Right,
It's
that's
just crazy. It's crazy fun. Just expect anything and everything that, you never know. And then I'll literally have celebrities A-listers that will call up the day before going, hey, I am going to be able to play. I'm flying in. So, the rosters kind of will change even, with the month out between now and then because people will get some gigs. People,
Right.
gigs will open up. But people are mad, like, there are celebrities that are mad. We have a lot of country music guys like Wade Bowen, Randy Rogers, Casey Donahue, Cody, that are fired up when they can't play because they're booked.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Right.
change the date. I can't change the date.
Right.
So, but that's how much fun that the game really is and the impact on everybody.
And it's the biggest part is just the impact.
Yeah.
The impact.
And
of
the
getting
celebrities
back.
and the money that's raised. And again, the celebrities love the veterans love the celebs. And it's just a great combination to hang out on the field and have fun. And again, the girls that we have playing too, like they're beasts. You got Brooke Entz, who's, world champion CrossFitter. And you've got Catherine Lidstone from The Chosen, and you got Kristen Reed, supermodel, and you got Bonnie Jill Laughlin, who's supermodel, sports media.
it's
You
female
got
power.
you got some amazing
It is. That's
super
good.
females out there,
Female power.
that are just as competitive, and don't let one of them come up and get up in your rear end because you're not
Right.
playing very well.
Right.
But it's fun to watch.
All right, very nice. All right, so
Okay.
we do have a question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're going to cover
So
it.
we do have a question, either professionally or personally. What advice would you give to our viewers and everyone on how you raise the bar?
I think, I was talking to a veteran yesterday that wanted to meet for lunch, and he was going through some things. And, he actually helped me out probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because he's the kind of guy that will call and want to talk about some issues he's dealing with, but he answers his own problems as he's talking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So really,
Yeah,
I just
of course.
listen. And one of the things he had told me, again, probably almost 2 years ago now, that he's like, TK, I think maybe what I should start doing is just focusing on my day. I get too far on tomorrow, next week, a month from now, and I don't really focus on my day. And as I was listening to him, I'm thinking, I'm a lot the same way. I wake up and I'm already dealing with tomorrow, the next day. And I told him that, bro, that's probably the most profound statement I've heard. And so what I do on my daily, we all have deadlines and schedules and things. And I'll wake up every morning and what do I got? Great. But I try to put all my focus in on that day.
Right.
And what I've realized is, I've just started getting more out of it and started getting more joy out of it. And the anxiety of worrying about what I got to do here, or worrying about this, it dissipates. It's amazing. So that's what I would be the first thing is tell everybody, to really focus up. The other thing that we started doing that I was telling him about is, even with me and my wife, is that we just pray in the morning, just me and her, which we've never done. Just recently, just kind of over the last year, just every morning, let's say a quick prayer together. Gives us a chance to bring us together before everybody goes and gets busy.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, while we're laying in bed, after we turned off Ted Lasso or The Chosen, whatever we're watching,
That's right.
we'll say a quick prayer together of just gratitude of what we got today.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so just those two little things have really seemed, and every day I'll send something out to my kids, a Bible verse to them, and just reminding them how much we love them in a group text and how proud we are of all of them. And, just something to kind of, a little inspiration for them on a daily basis too, as a
Right.
family. Right. And then the other thing is, go be you.
Right.
Right. Don't worry about if you don't fit in or you're, people would consider you not the norm. Those are the type of people I like hanging with, honestly. And, I've got a lot of friends that were career felons that are changed people now that most people probably wouldn't want to sit down and even have a cup of coffee with, that are just absolutely amazing people. And then, older people. And, I think then the last thing is just be respectful to everybody, because you just don't know what anybody's going through. So I always just try to be that guy to, no matter who I'm meeting with or seeing or whoever, like I would hope that when we get done meeting with each other, that they will, have more of a pep in their step or smile on their face from hanging out with TK
Right.
for a little while. So
That's
that's
it.
always my goal whenever
Wonderful.
we do anything. So
Well, this morning's been great.
yeah, it's been
Appreciated it.
phenomenal.
I mean,
Thank you guys
people
for
need to
having
be
me.
thankful for their blessings,
Yes.
and that's the message you portray, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
I've never ever promoted myself. I've never had a website for
Okay.
for TK or so. It went from one athlete to, and,
Right.
and when I moved down here, like I said, I didn't know anybody. I met my wife down here through
Okay.
the cowboy that started calling me TK.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's actually how we met, and because he was dating my wife's girlfriend.
Okay.
And that's how her and I met. And so it's just word of mouth. I think, again, I'm a big energy and frequency guy. And I think, you know, people are just always like, TK, I've got to introduce you so-so, or TK, there's some people
Okay.
got to meet, or even like my buddy Mark Clayton, who's coming in here. I think he's with Rich and
Yeah, he's coming in
Rachel.
today, I
Yeah,
think.
they're coming
Yeah,
in today at
yeah.
noon. So, you know, just everybody that I know, honestly, I've been introduced by somebody. And
Right,
again, even
right.
being with you guys today, you know, through Rich. And, you know, Rich is always like, man, let me help you with your PR. Let me open up some doors. Let
Yeah.
me.
No, he's good at that.
So, you know, it's just been, and I was on their podcast probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, that
Yep.
they invited me to come be on, like right when we were bringing our sprays out. And so that's the first time I actually met those guys and was on their show. And it's just kind of, you know, again, like everything else
from
turns
there.
into
Go from
family.
there.
you know.
Right.
Thanks to our sponsor, the Ashmore Law Firm.
We specialize in probate, estate planning, family law, guardianship, personal injury, and civil litigation.
You can find us at ashmorelaw.com.
Or by calling us at 214-559-7202.
Again, that's ashmorelaw.com.
Or calling 214-559-7202.